Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So, if you're a young professional who just landed your very first big job, or maybe you're just looking for a totally stress-free way to manage your money, you are in the exact right place today. We're going to map out a mathematically optimal, step-by-step blueprint to build a completely bulletproof financial foundation, right from your very first paycheck. Think of it like building your financial house from the bedrock up. We're going to use a super friendly, absolutely foolproof checklist to get you there.
But before we start pouring the concrete, I want you to imagine trying to carry water in a bucket that has massive holes punched in the bottom. I mean, you can pour as much water in as you want, but you're never going to actually make any progress, right? Well, that is exactly what happens when people start investing without a solid foundation. According to recent data, the median amount Americans have saved up for emergencies is a dangerously low $500. That's literally less than most people's monthly car payment. Yet, a lot of these same folks are out there trying to chase the next hot stock or crypto trend, all while their financial foundation is completely cracked.
Okay, so we're going to tackle this in 5 clear phases. First, safety nets and debt. Then, the employer match, tax optimization using IRAs, the healthcare hack, and finally, the penthouse, your taxable accounts. Sticking to this order is exactly what stops you from making those classic rookie mistakes.
Phase 1. Safety nets and debt. Fixing the leaky bucket.
So step 1 of your entire financial blueprint is building that emergency fund. Now, I know the traditional advice you always hear is save 3 to 6 months of living expenses. But let's be real, that can feel incredibly overwhelming when you're just starting out. So we're going to chunk it down into friendly, bite-sized steps. First, just sprint to save $1,000 as fast as you humanly can. This covers those super annoying minor emergencies, a blown tire, a random medical bill, and it gives you an instant psychological safety net. From there, you build up to 1 month and eventually 3 months of expenses. And here is a fascinating little fact from Vanguard's recent research. People with just $2,000 in emergency savings had financial well-being scores that were a massive 21% higher than those without. It's truly amazing how just a tiny bit of cash padding completely transforms your mindset.
Once you've got that cash buffer in place, the next step is completely eliminating all high-interest debt. We're talking anything charging over 8% annually. The math here makes the reason super obvious. Credit cards charge an average of 22% interest, right? Meanwhile, the stock market historically returns about 7% after inflation. So trying to invest in the market while you are actively carrying credit card debt is literally like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. Every single dollar you put toward a 22% credit card debt gives you a guaranteed 22% return. And trust me, that easily beats even the greatest stock market investors in the world.
To clear this financial cancer out of your life for good, you want to use what's called the debt avalanche method. It's simple. Pay the minimums on all your debts and then aggressively throw every single extra dollar you can scrape together at the debt with the highest interest rate. This is the absolute most mathematically efficient way to get out of debt. Let's say you've got $5,000 sitting on a credit card at 22%. If you only make the minimum payments, you're going to end up throwing away nearly $2,800 in pure interest over 5 years. The avalanche method stops that bleeding fast so you can actually start building real wealth.
Moving on to Phase 2. The employer match, also known as finding free money.
Now, there is one massive exception to that pay off debt first rule we just talked about. If your employer offers a match on your 401k or retirement plan, you need to grab it immediately. Yes, even if you still have credit card debt. Why? Because an employer match is essentially a guaranteed 100% immediate return on your investment, at least up to whatever their limit is. Literally nothing else in the financial world can legally promise you a 100% return right out of the gate. It completely wipes the floor with that 22% credit card interest we were just worried about.
Honestly, it's like finding money lying on the ground that your employer will automatically double just because you picked it up. Let's break down the math real quick to show how wildly powerful this is. Say you're a young professional earning $50,000 a year, and your employer matches 50 cents on the dollar up to 6% of your salary. If you contribute $3,000, your employer just hands you $1,500 entirely for free. That is a guaranteed 50% return instantly, plus whatever the market earns on top of it over time. So the pro move here is to contribute just enough to get that full employer match and then immediately redirect all your focus back to crushing that high-interest debt.
Foundation is set. Let's hit Phase 3, tax optimization with IRAs to escape those pesky fees.
Notice that we aren't maxing out the rest of your employer 401k just yet. Instead, we pivot to an individual retirement account, or IRA. We do this because corporate 401ks often have super limited investment options and annoying management fees that just quietly eat away at your wealth. With an IRA, you can invest up to $7,000 a year into low-cost index funds with virtually zero fees. But here's where you have a big choice: traditional or Roth. Well, if you're a young professional just starting out, you are probably in the lowest earning years of your entire career. Your tax bracket is likely the lowest it will ever be. Because of that, you absolutely want the Roth IRA. You pay a little bit of tax right now, today, and then all that money grows and is withdrawn in retirement completely 100% tax-free.
Phase 4. The healthcare hack. We're talking HSAs, the ultimate secret weapon.
After you max out that $7,000 Roth IRA, if you happen to be eligible for this next account, please prepare to have your mind blown. Health savings accounts, or HSAs, are hands down the most underutilized investment vehicles in America. For young, healthy professionals on a high-deductible health plan, this account is essentially a superpowered Swiss Army knife for wealth building. It is the only account in existence with a triple tax advantage. First, you get a tax deduction when you put the cash in. Second, that money grows completely tax-free in the stock market. And third, you pay zero taxes when you pull it out for medical expenses. But wait, here is the ultimate hack. There is literally no time limit on when you reimburse yourself. You could pay for a doctor's visit out of pocket today, keep the receipt in a folder, let your HSA money grow in the market for decades, and then reimburse yourself completely tax-free 20 years from now. And the compound math on this is just staggering. If you max out the single HSA contribution, which is about $4,300 a year, and you invest it for 30 years at an average 7% return, you could end up with over $400,000. That is $400,000 of entirely tax-free money specifically earmarked for healthcare. When you consider that the average couple will spend over $300,000 on medical costs in retirement, this one neat little account basically makes your single biggest retirement expense disappear completely.
And finally, Phase 5, the penthouse, taxable accounts, maxing out and entering the Wild West.
Once your HSA is full, you go back and finish maxing out your employer 401k up to the current limit, which is around $23,500. Only after that do you finally reach the top floor, taxable accounts. Now, these have no contribution limits, which means you can buy whatever you want: individual stocks, ETFs, crypto, you name it. But we leave this floor for the very last step because of a massive hidden penalty called tax drag. Listen to this. If you invest $10,000 a year for 30 years at 7% in a tax-advantaged account, you'd end up with about $944,000. Where the IRS takes a slice of your dividends and capital gains every single year, you end up with only $700,000. That is a staggering $250,000 penalty just for investing in the wrong order. Sure, taxable accounts give you the ultimate flexibility if you want to buy a house or retire super early, but you should only use them after absolutely maximizing your tax-sheltered options.
So let's bring it all together and recap this incredible checklist. Step 1, chunk your emergency fund. Step 2, crush that 22% debt using the avalanche method. Step 3, grab your free 100% employer match. Step 4, skip over to the low-fee Roth IRA. Step 5, hack the triple tax HSA. Step 6, finish maxing out the 401k. And Step 7, finally playing the taxable penthouse. If you can actually work your way through this entire sequence, you aren't just doing okay. You are statistically in the top 5% of savers in America. You're building an unstoppable wealth machine while everyone else is getting distracted by flashy trends.
At the end of the day, building wealth really doesn't require a genius IQ. It just requires a bit of discipline and following the right mathematical sequence. So I'll leave you with this final thought. When your very next paycheck hits, are you going to start building your financial house on solid bedrock? Or are you going to keep chasing the next hot stock while carrying around a leaky bucket? The blueprint is right here. The choice is yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy building!